Perfect. We have Mike, just Rishi, just trying to say, Rishi, welcome. All right, Mike. So, how are you? Can you hear us, Rishi?
Yeah, loud and
Cool.
clear.
Cool. Thank you for joining. Where are you calling us from?
UK.
UK. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
What
What is it
Rishi
like?
Sunak?
No, it's just Rishi.
5 p.m. in the UK. Perfect. All right. So, Mike, I'm sharing right now screen. Let me scroll down to yours so we can start talking about yours.
Okay, I can see you and hear you.
Mike, we have been able to see you for like 5 minutes now,
Okay.
but we couldn't hear you. You had issues with the audio?
I don't know what the issue is, to be honest with you, Adam. I was using AirPods
Okay.
linked to my PC. Now I'm just going with over the air, and
No worries.
no, that's fine. It's Friday. Nobody's here at work, so it doesn't bother anybody.
All right. So
Should I send you the code or should I present maybe? Because this is only a static picture.
Yeah, why don't you present, Mike? You can share screen. Do you have it up and running or not yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me unshare screen, and then you can share your screen and talk about your code and so we can see it live, like you said. And then Mike P. I'm gonna say Mike and Mike P because we have two mics here. So Mike P. I answered your post on your question on Discord. I've never, I haven't used polars in PyCafe. So you were running into issues.
Yeah, I really wanted to get it up and running, and it seems like a good system. But
the screen icon. Somehow really I accidentally allow temporarily. Your browser has blocked the screen. Click screen icon in your address bar and allow access.
You can always try to maybe exit and rejoin the live stream. Maybe it will help.
Be faster, right?
It might be. What about you, Rishi? Are you just observing us today, or do you want to talk about a graph that you made?
No, I'm just observing.
Perfect. Rishi, did you get a chance to look at the post and see the stuff that people created?
Yep.
Perfect. Great. And Mike P, I see that you just recently posted something this morning, right?
Yeah.
Nice. And do you have it running on your computer?
Yeah, I have it up right now. So if you want me to share my screen, I can speak to it for a few minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, it's pretty simple. Let me hit the share button here. If I can find that. It's on the bottom. Present.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
we
can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Come on, StreamYard. Hold on a second.
Okay, Mike, welcome back. I think also Mike P is trying to share his screen.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Can you see it now, Adam?
Okay, I just put your screen, Mike. Tell us what you have here.
Okay. So this was a pretty simple data set, and I spent considerable time just figuring out what would I really present. And the first thing I came up with was I want to know of these 5 requirements that are necessary to get a taxi medallion, what is the status of those who have completed 4 out of 5? Like, what's the last one they need to push them over the line to possibly getting a medallion approved? And I've been thinking about just making that a static visualization, filter to just people who completed 4 or 5 requirements. But I thought, I definitely need more skill and practice in dashboards. So I made a dashboard that, which I just killed, it looks like. This dashboard allows you to select how many requirements have been completed, and then it groups, does a tally and just counts them up. So you can see where people who have completed 0 dashboards, they have solid red bars for these 5 requirements. People who have completed 5 have solid green bars. And I looked at just 4 was the one I was wondering, and it's pretty obvious that the driver exam comes last for most of the people. And the wave course, which is like the wheelchair accessibility, is something that I think is just a simple car inspection. There were only 2 people who hadn't completed that of those who have completed 4 of the 5 requirements. So this is a very simple, snappy little dashboard. And as I'm, to say the least, my skills are evolving, and I'm being very complimentary of myself with that statement. It was best use of my time to maybe just do one good visualization with dash bootstrap radio buttons and just kind of get up to speed on that. So I expect in the coming weeks, I will probably be submitting some of these dashboards of similar kind of low complexity as I build up my skill set on creating various, components of the Dash Enterprise. The last thing I want to say about this, I kind of forgot this. I tried to post this on Pi Cafe. It doesn't seem to work right with polars. Maybe it's something I'm doing wrong. Maybe I have to build the library myself. But this is pretty much all it is. Oh yeah, I did have one other comment. On some of the dashboards, they're using the Sankey diagrams, and it seems implied that people are going from like these tests one at a time.
Yeah.
But my data shows or implies, I'm not sure who's right, but that people complete these requirements in whatever order they want. So I'm not sure that Sankey is the best for describing this data.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mike, because the Sankey diagram gives the impression that there's a certain order to the steps. Now, if we make it clear, which I think it's also true that I don't think there's an order there. On top of this Sankey diagram, this is just to see the funnel, to see what's missing in every stage.
Yeah.
But these stages are not how do you call that when they're like one after the other? Then the user of the graph or the viewer is not confused. Like, oh, okay, I see there's a lot missing the driver exam, but they can't do it. They have to do it last. So I understand. No, if it's clear in the Sankey diagram that it's not by order, then it's fine. But I really like, Mike, how you did this here, because it's very useful information. Like if I was working at the TLC department, I would often go to I want to see this. I want to go to if you can click on the 4, those who completed 4 out of 5 that are just about to finish. Can you click on the 4 for a second, the radio button?
Yep. Give me a second here.
So
if I go to 4, there's 4.
No, see, okay, most people who are 80% there are missing driving exam, right? That's good to know. Or and then there's kind of like a tie between the rest: drug test, medical, and defensive driving. So that could, depending on resources and scheduling, that could really help the authorities move things around in order to increase the completion rate of all the requirements. It's a very unique way of doing this, Mike. I like it. Like you can create a really fancy, beautiful, big dashboard. That's fine if you have time for it. But if time is limited, like I putting most of your effort and thought into the type of graph and the visualization you want to show, I think has a lot of advantages to it, because it's showing. I mean, this is all we're all about, right? Using Plotly to visualize data in an interesting way, and this accomplishes that.
Yeah, I learned a lot doing this, and like I said, I'm a newbie at dashboarding, and I took some advice I heard or read from you, Adam, which is just stick with the simple stuff as you're learning. So I'm probably going to follow that approach for several weeks to come. Some of the others have made really, really impressive dashboards with many different visualizations. I'm nowhere near that level yet, but I learned a great deal. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I don't know what else I can say, but
Perfect.
Mike, I agree with Adam said. It doesn't matter if you make a lot of chart or just one, as you did here. It's very interesting. Is communicate interesting information that is at the end of the day what the people is looking for, and also.
And I'll say, thank you, by the way. One thing I'll say about this data set that was kind of interesting to me was that if you look at the number of applicants who fall into each of these buckets, there's pretty good consistency. You don't have like the one choice that has like two and the rest are in the hundreds. So there's a pretty good distribution in all of these categories. So that was a nice thing about the data set.
Exactly, and also just to complement, to add, I would like to add what you say about Sankey diagram. I agree with you. In fact, I use a funnel chart trying to follow a natural flow, but at the end of the day, we don't know. I don't know. This is a natural flow to follow, but exactly in this way is better than looking for other type of chart. I don't know, but I agree with you. No, Sankey is not the best way.
I make one more comment about the Sankey chart, by the way. If you would ask me a month ago, I would say I will never use that visualization, and my work doesn't need that in any way, shape, or form. And a week later, I proved myself wrong. I had to produce a graph for my team that showed various data flows throughout our organization. And it was like, holy cow. I mean, I would not have done that if it were not for this forum and seeing all of you guys. So sometimes, you get exposed to a new idea, it looks cute, it looks cool, but it's not really practical for the work I do. And sure enough, a week later, I fell on my face with that statement. Didn't age very well. So
never say never. Never say never.
Never say never. I know. Yeah, I said never. And
all right.
Could not have been more wrong.
Cool, so, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'll stop the sharing.
All right. Now we have Mike. You said you had a presentation for us. Can you present now? Can you share your screen?
Let's try. Share screen. Share screen. Select window or screen. I'll just select entire screen. Allow. And
perfect. I have you here. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Yeah, that was a wonderful. Your visualization was wonderful and interactive. It was amazing. I chose a similar approach to that. Also, just taking one part of it. Mine is not interactive. I had to step down even lower because my first Dash app. I've mostly worked with Streamlit before. It's a little cheating, but no HTML, CSS. So I just chose a really simple way to look at the incomplete. Okay, so it looked at the incomplete to focus on those. Maybe there's some reason why they're incomplete that I can find. So I just did a pie chart. I figured with only a few pieces, a pie chart might be appropriate. It's all visible, 77% incomplete. And here we have the count, and I just, in descending order, driver's examinations were the most incomplete, as we've seen on the other previous visualization. Yeah. So we see there the most needed. I found it ironic for a taxi license, the most the most needed incomplete was because of a simple driver's examination.
Yeah.
Medical clearance, drug test, driving, defensive driving, even less. Yeah. In the wheelchair. But the most, I guess, maybe this is the most difficult part of it. We don't know. The driver's examination.
Maybe Mike, is that maybe it's not like a written exam. Maybe they actually have to go into the car and have like somebody join them, so the resources are a lot more intense. And that's why it's a lot harder to schedule a driving exam. Maybe for driving exams, also I was thinking when Mike P was presenting that maybe defensive driving exam is something that has to happen before, and only after that is completed, then an actual driving exam can be completed. I wouldn't want to go on a road with somebody that hasn't had a defensive exam first. So that could be it. So I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just the most heavy involved requirement. That's why there's so few people are completing it until the end.
Yeah, and in the previous one we mentioned that we don't know the order
Right.
of which parts. Is it just random, whichever you like to complete, or is one before the other? We don't know. So until we have that information, we can't make a decision. Or
Yeah.
This is a good
conclusion.
presentation. Also, the driver's test is probably one that people don't really know if they're going to pass. You know, the others are
Right.
maybe a little bit more administrative, but I mean, as somebody who I failed the driver test my first 2 times I took it, you know, it's nerve-wracking, and it's something that, you know, it's maybe the most daunting one. The one I thought would be higher was the drug testing, because just say some people need time to study for their drug test, which means they have to abstain for a few weeks to clear it, and so that would postpone it. But that wasn't the case, actually.
Interesting. Well, this is Mike,
Yes,
this is
well,
great being your first Dash app. Alex, sorry, you were saying something, Alex?
no, sorry, I would like to say a question, asking a question. Basically, this type of driver license have is a specific one, or for instance, I don't know, maybe if you are a drug driver, you need to another type of test, driving defense, I don't know. Is or the whole people that is trying to acquire for this driver license have the same exam, or is just one type of driver license? Is that the question? Or
No, there's 3 types. There's 3 types or 4 types of driver license.
okay.
And 2 of them are
Okay.
the majority of the ones that people ask for, which I think is driving like a regular taxi. And most of these are required for that. Another driver type was, I think, for driving people with disabilities or a certain bus, and that there's certain things you don't need for that one, or additional things you need. So yeah, it differs. It's different.
Okay.
Well, by design, this is a difficult license to get, as it should be, because you're picking up people on the street and they're paying you to go places. And if you're not a very good driver, you're irresponsible. I mean,
Yeah,
they don't want
you're responsible for people's lives.
Yeah.
You're responsible for people's lives. Mike, is this? Oh, Mike, can you share again?
Okay, I think we're done.
If you click on
problem.
the pie chart, is it possible to see like other statuses breakdown, like the denied breakdown?
If I click on him,
Yeah.
no, I think just here. Yeah, so if I click on these, so we can see a breakdown, it automatically changes. I'm not sure which ones I have. Did not.
Oh, okay. So the pie
Incomplete,
chart
did not-
and the pie chart and the histogram are not connected.
No.
Okay. So
I'm not exactly sure
for example could be interesting. This is your first Dash app, Mike, and for a first Dash app is fabulous. But given that you're a beginner, I'm going to give you some tips for future apps, or how people might have, for example, done something like this. If they have more time or building a more sophisticated Dash app, you would one option is to try to connect the 2 graphs, right? You can try to connect the 2 graphs, and you can say if somebody clicks on one of the slices in the pie chart, it will give you a breakdown. It will recreate the histogram on the bottom and give you a breakdown of what are the requirements that are needed or a completion status for specifically that data set, right? It will filter in the callback. It will just filter the data set. It'll say, okay, I see in the pie chart as the input, the denied was chosen. Filter the data frame where only denied rows are showing, right? So now we have df underscore denied, and only on that data set we're going to build a new graph, or 2 graphs or 3 graphs, right? With the denied data set. Same thing if it's something else is clicked, right? If you click the under review or anything else, you can see the statuses breakdown, which is pretty interesting. That is not easy to do with the pie chart, to capture the slices that were clicked. But you always have us in the forum to ask questions, so we can try and help.
Okay.
So that's one thing that you can do. I would put everything under here. It doesn't really matter because it's just like almost like 2 rows that you have. the pie chart on top and the histogram on the bottom, but there's a lot of white space. There's a lot of free and empty
Yes.
real estate, right? So obviously you're not thinking right now as your first Dash app. You're just thinking about creating a beautiful graph and an insightful graph, which is the focus of
graph.
a graph, right? Which is the focus of what you should be doing, because we're here to learn from our plotly graphs and the insights of the data. But if you ever had time to think about the layout, then you want to get rid of a little bit of that white space, meaning you could probably because there's not too many bars here on the histogram markers, you could probably have them all in the same row. So you can have the histogram on the left and the pie chart on the right, and maybe they're a little bit higher with height, and it could be a lot more of the page will be focused on the graphs instead of white space.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it for this Dash app. Pretty cool. Thank you for sharing and building it. Good luck with your Dash learning. It's pretty exciting that you built this, being your first Dash app.
Thanks.
All right. We have two more. Let's say I have Rishi here on my side. Rishi, do you want to share what you have on your computer? Share screen?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Let me see if I can.
So Rishi built something as well. I don't think he posted on the forum yet, but he does have it on his computer, so we're going to see it. Right here. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to add you to the stage, Rishi. 1 second. Okay, we see it.
Okay. Again, this is just me coming from a data science background, so just trying to understand what the data is. The whole thing is like the focus was more on the acceptance rate and the rejection rate. So every month, let it be January, February, March, you get like the acceptance rate in that particular month or the rejection rate in that particular month. I'll show the code part also. It's just like some basic mathematics functions happening at the back to just give you the value of how much acceptance rate is there in January, February, and so on. So
nice.
And again, I wanted to connect the graph as well as the CSV file, which is shown at the last part.
Yeah.
But I haven't got it all connected. So the idea is you click one, pick a month, you get the acceptance rate, rejection rate, show some details like pending actions, application under review. And again, the graph will also show the same part. And lastly, you'll have the application number as well as the data filtered on that particular month.
That's a great summary, especially like somebody working at the commission and responsible for processing so many applications. And me and my team, I would like to see, okay, how many did we accept or reject this week? How many did we accept or have a pending approval for this month? So then we can follow and say, okay, this is a lot. Like something is wrong. We're getting too many, or we're not keeping up with pace. We have to add another employee. This is very good information.
Also to add, because month is too wide, like 30 to 28 to 30 days are quite some long. So I was like, okay, let's just also have some weeks data. So just take the date, break it into week, and as well as label it 0011 and so on.
Nice.
So yeah, you want to convert.
But is that week in the drop down, or the drop down is only by month?
It's in all that. So month everywhere. So
I mean, like on the top of the app, is that we also have weeks there?
No, it's just at the month. But I was thinking to add more things, but didn't get much time. I was also trying to have the light and dark functionality working, but it's just fixed on dark at the moment.
No worries.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, but I'm glad that it looks like your thought process is the appropriate one, where before you focus on the beautiful stuff, the light, the dark, and the final touches and the embellishments. It's like, okay, what do I want to show? What I want to show the user? What is going to be interesting here? And you got it right. Okay, for me, the summaries are going to be interesting, the monthly summaries, and then you added a graph to it to support it. You added your table, and that's really what you want to focus on first, like the insights that people will get from looking at your dashboard. Sometimes people build such interesting graphs that you don't even need a dashboard. You can just show the graph, and people are like at awe at the information that it gives you.
Yeah. So something which I later found out when I was just writing this up and running it, that if you can just type in like partial also, like approved, it will just filter it based on the just keyword matching.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. That's
So,
pretty much.
Rishi, what's happening in the back end? You sending the summary stat. Are you
Oh yeah.
calculating this or?
So the background is more like how should I say, a Dash app running with a helper Python file, which has the filtering functionalities also. So if you
Okay.
want, I can share the coding screen part also.
If you want, if there's something in the code that you want to highlight.
Sure, sure. Let me share it. 1 second.
Like I was wondering, did you calculate acceptance rate or is that in the data?
Yeah, so I had to calculate these things. Let me know if you can see the.
One sec. Okay, yeah, now we see it.
Yeah. So my approach from data science perspective is more like keep a Python file, which kind of have your simple acceptance rate, rejection, and so on in one thing. So just unique values, get it, and then have your acceptance rate is equal to like success count upon total application into 100. So
Okay.
that's pretty much simple.
That is very nice code, by the way.
Yeah.
I
Then
mean, it's
just
not even a page. That's doing a lot of stuff. It's really good.
yeah, and then you have your Dash app in which I'm just grouping it based on the counts. Again, there's something I was trying to figure out more and more. So just
Nice.
yeah, again, down the line I wanted to connect it all together to the drop down. That way it would be much more visually appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'll put callback. How much experience do you have with Dash, Rishi?
I do have kind of playing around and couple of you organize some of the monthly challenges. So yeah, I do have.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you can see that from your code. You know what you're doing.
Yeah. But I'm not really good at the front end part.
Well, I'm sure you'll improve. Cool. Well, thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you.
All right, Alex, let's see your app.
Excellent, Rich. I like your code. Eh, well, I'm going to present Adam.
Do
Maybe
you, do you want me? Do you want to present? Do you want me to share screen?
no, I want to present.
Okay.
Let
Perfect.
me.
I know Alex had a lot of time that oops, what is this? That he put into this, folks. So as you're looking at Alex's app, if you have any feedback, write it down. Anything you would do differently or any questions, please feel free to ask him.
Can,
All right,
can
I'm
you see
sharing
it?
one second. 1 second, Alex. Okay, we see. Yes, we see it.
Mhm. Perfect. Well, this time as you can see, I made a dashboard, web app dashboard. I always have the problem. Well, I don't know if it's a dashboard, it's a web app. Well, at the end is the day. At the end is the same. Well, basically here, what I wanted to do is first follow the natural flow of the application of the in this case the DLC driver application. By this time, I wanted to the first thing I thought was about how to create a chart that shows the flow of the application. I selected the funnel. The funnel is used also for sale or for CRM, but also I will let's say how it works. Well, here what I did was two filters, mainly a data range filter and the normal filter, if the filter by status. I select here and I can see deny. I can see here the dynamic card at the right, and we can see here by by stage percent. For instance, the deny here is a minor. The deny have a well, are denied 90% or 12% could be denied that deny driver exam or drug test. So you have here the split exactly what is happening with this number of people that were denied.
Wait,
Also, the
Alex,
incomplete,
Alex,
for
can you hear me?
instance, is another.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you go back to the denied for a second?
yes, see, yes,
So when you see the denied,
yes.
I think there's a lag in access to the internet. And then you go down to the driver exam. What is that telling us? 12% of people that were denied did a driver's exam?
They made it. They drive the exam. They drive the exam. Go from also 60 or 38% made the medical clearance form, and so on and so forth. Basically,
Okay, got it.
all of the percentage of the denied what the process they complete.
Good.
Later, for instance, what I do here incomplete. In incomplete, you can see the same. The incomplete, how many of them or percentage made the driver, the defense driving, the medical clearance. That's the reason why I like it to do it in funnel, because it made me an idea how percentage of people were doing every stage.
Yeah.
Well, then also if you can filter by data range. That is interesting too. Well, but let's go here. Then also I include an application timeline. The application timeline basically what shows is the number of application by month. Here is by month is complete, and specifically what the percentage of total application they complete, they approve, and the approved license issue are the denied. And also you can see here at the status distribution on the card, basically. Or for instance here by using the data range, but also using the same structure of the for it is really plotly, that is more direct. Okay.
Okay.
Also, of course, if we use the plotly structure, we can see the division. If we use, in this case, for instance, here, the month, immediately you can see here the dynamically the card updated distribution. Okay, then I don't know if you have any question, but
I have one quick question, Alex.
Okay.
I like these graphs. Is this like the pattern of a week where the numbers get really low on Saturday and Sunday and then high in the middle of the week? Out on the upper right, that looks like a classic case of something that's busy during the week and
Looks
more or
like
less
it.
out on weekends.
That's a good observation.
Exactly. Well, it's a good observation. Yes, some picture. Well, we can see here. Let's see if I can put here some.
The other thing I take from that is that it looks like Monday's a big spike, right?
Here
and
is
then
more
it drops
clear.
off Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, and then a
Some-
little bit on Friday. Up a little bit on Friday. I don't know what that means, but
Exactly.
That's what it looks
No,
like.
I don't. Maybe the people have free time, or maybe.
Yeah, it looks like the yellow spike.
Okay.
Especially what's
Another
the
question.
yellow one? The yellow one can show you. What's the yellow one?
Is the total application.
Got it. Okay.
Total application. The yellow one is total application. The green one is the deny, and the The incomplete and the blue, in this case, are the approved. Okay?
Okay.
Well, I move on. Next, I would like to put this type of data. I call the closest bottlenecks. The if even though in the here in the third part we can see the flow, the process bottleneck here. What I wanted to do is using a state part to see exactly or highlight the percentage in this color. By the way, I use this color trying to refer to uh, taxi cab now that means yellow and black.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here here what we here what we want to see basically is where are the bottlenecks in this part based on the data in this case. Just another way to show exactly the data instead of the funnel chart, basically. And lastly, what I did was I always try to add something made with machine learning, and in this case I use let's see here. Well, I use logistic regression. In this case, a simple logistic regression to show what are the features, more important feature that shows if a pattern against the approved or not approved. Here, I highlight the feature importance, the top feature by approval prediction, and also I would like to also indicate, put an indicator to see exactly what is the percentage of approved in this case, and also that what were the key factors. Of course, this is a basic machine learning. We need to make some more deep analysis. But basically, is a logistic regression that I use the logistic regression. I decided to, in this case, to select 10 samples. Here, 10 samples to play around. 10 samples, 7 are approved. I know that are approved, and 3 not approved, to see how this indicator work and show exactly to play around, just to type of gamification that I say, basically to be more illustrative. But what are the feature important, what they are approved and what what not. That basically to play around a little with the machine learning. I don't know if any question, doubt, comment, what you like, what you don't like, what work, what not.
How did
Do
you?
you think you have enough?
Go ahead.
Do you think you have enough of a sample for prediction? Because it wasn't too big of a file. There weren't that. There wasn't that. Do you think you have enough sample data to do predictive analysis? Because it seemed like a small file, not too much data.
Well, here we have were about, in this case, they were about here, because you have seen, we normally have 3,000 samples. Mm-hmm. From where 3,000 samples, only 500 were approved. So is in this case, it's a good data size to do this type of analysis. But the thing here was, it is a good question. Thank you, Mike. That for this type of analysis, I did a logistic regression. We have only 50% of approved. When we have 50% approved and 85% of not approved, you have unbalanced data. And when you have that amount of unbalanced data, you have make some type of bias for instance, against the minority. You can do, I can do, here I did a logistic regression. I can do a random forest classifier and have a better result. But with the data, I see that yes, we can do an excellent, in this case, a training for the model. One thing that would be most interesting is taking more in-depth data. For instance, here we have a variable called other requirements. With more data, other requirement, we can see exactly how any feature can be related each other, and what would be better to make a more precise analysis. But the amount of data, yes, like the 300, more than 300 is enough data for this.
I would add to that and say that, even if this sample size is too small for like an industrial inference scenario, for this kind of proof of concept, I would say it's very, very valid, and you can test the accuracy of your models, and probably Alex would acknowledge that, yeah, it would be more accurate with 10 times the amount of data, but this is a great work, in my view. And by the way, I like what you do on the right side with your cards. You always do that, but it gives a lot of clarity to the visualizations, and someday I'll learn how to do that. It's on my list.
Yes, thank you.
I'm in awe of your work, Alex.
Well, thank you. So someday I want to. Sorry. Go ahead.
What you should do might be is like, and anybody's like, take Alex's code, especially the cards one, and just use that as a component, right? Use that, or just copy paste it into your app, because these are beautiful. Like how he does this a lot. Esther does this. It's like a summary of all the information plugged in. It could be it's usually dynamic through a callback, but at least you have the layout of it, so you don't have to mess around with the CSS or with the title and the header. Everything is there, and then you can just connect the output of what's going into the cards as inside the callback.
Exactly. Well, basically what I did, as I agree with Mike said, exactly, this is give an idea. It's obviously, and the sample size is enough for this one. Or obviously, if we have more features, for instance, what I mean more features, the time the people making the requisition for the approval, and how it takes for the approval is interesting. This is important. This is a feature very important, but we don't have it here. So is the quality of the feature that at the end of the day help to improve the model or not? That's it. It's all I had there.
Very nice. What is that component?
Any
I
other
like when you
questions?
use those new components, Alex. That component is what is it called? Is it part of -DAC with a 68.3%? Alex, can you hear me?
It's the indicator. You say? Yes, the indicator.
Yeah.
The indicator is I use the indicator from Graph of Go.
Graph.
That's that Graph of Go.
Yeah. Nice.
Exactly.
Very nice.
With them, yes, and also, and the card that you asked me in the community forum, the movement from the card when you hover up. Well, it's basically is Bootstrap, but Bootstrap from JavaScript, HTML. It's not a DVC Bootstrap. It's not a Bootstrap from JavaScript that a small amount of code you can do this.
Nice. That was a cool effect. Thank you, Alex.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys.
I have one general question because I haven't seen Mike or Rishi on these calls before. Maybe I missed last week, but where are you guys calling in from? Just out of curiosity.
I'm from Ukraine. I'm originally from Chicago. I'm in Ukraine now.
You're in Ukraine now? Oh, I hope everything is well there. Yeah, good. God bless Ukraine.
So far.
What are you, Rishi?
I'm based in Manchester, UK.
Manchester, UK. Did you go see Bruce Springsteen the other night? That was all over the news here.
No, I'm just
Would love to be there. Anyway, okay. I'm from San Jose, California, just to.
And then Alex, you're from Venezuela, but you're in Brazil.
I live from Venezuela, but living in Brazil.
Venezuela. Where from? What city in Venezuela were you from?
Caracas, the city, the capital city.
Oh, okay. I wasn't. I was in Barranquilla, which I really, really like, but I was never in Caracas. I was hoping
in Colombia. You were in Colombia.
Right, that was Colombia. Yeah.
Barranquilla. It's almost the same people, but no, Barranquilla.
But I also, I was a little bit.
Froze up.
Huh?
Some's froze. We lost Adam, or
I got disconnected. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, I got disconnected.
Yes.
No, I was Alex a little bit in Venezuela. I think it was in in Barranquilla in Colombia, and then I went to Maracaibo.
Maracaibo. The hottest city in Venezuela. No.
Bring your shorts. You down there.
I love it how we're all like representing different countries and
amazing.
It's really nice.
Amazing.
Need someone in Asia still.
Well, still not someone. We need someone for Asia, or Mike P is going to have to call us when he flies back to China or India.
This is a tough time for Asia. Actually speaking,
Yes.
I was in India a few months back, and it was like, geez, I can't remember. It was like 10:30 p.m. Friday night. But
yeah, it is. It's
Yeah, I used to do a weekly call, a bi-weekly call, and another group I was with from Canada, and then we had one person in Japan. So from all of Canada and Japan, I was in between.
Oh wow!
Nice.
And the UK, everywhere in between. And Brazil. In Brazil, there are people too.
In Brazil, exactly. Brazil. Here we have 1 hour in advance against New York, I think.
East Coast, yeah, I guess East Coast, yeah.
East Coast.
All right, folks. We are closing on time here. There's I think like 2 more community members that show pretty nice apps on the forum. Good opportunity to learn from them. Thank you, Rishi, for posting your code, and hope you can participate next week as well. I'm going to release here in about half an hour the new data set. It's going to be on U.S. dams, water dams. I don't know, like I think there's like 40,000 or not. I can't remember. There's a lot of U.S. dams. And there's a big data set from the National Inventory of Dams, NID, that added tracks information about the dams. Now there was a lot of columns. There's like 100 columns. I deleted a nice amount of them because for Figure Friday, I put the main complete access link to the complete data set if you want to go and see all the columns. But there's still a lot of columns in the data set I'm going to release. There's probably like 30 columns. And so the idea is don't get overwhelmed. Like, oh, this is not. You just choose a column that interests you. There's a latitude and longitude column. Maybe you just want to map the dams put the dams on a map so people can see a little bit of information that you choose on the hover where the dams are, right? Don't get overwhelmed from the columns. I often get overwhelmed when I see a lot of columns. You just choose a column that interests you and you focus on those columns. There's other columns to talk about.
Audio pause.
Frozen again.
Yeah.
Rosen. Adam, can you hear us?
Did I get cut off again? I can hear you now.
Yeah,
Can
you were
hear
cut
me?
off. You're back now. You're back.
I can hear you.
Okay. We can hear you.
Yes.
Adam.
We can hear. Yeah,
Can you hear me, folks?
it's working now.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening just now. Something is wrong with the internet. But if we'll get cut off again, I'll just end the live stream. But I did want to tell you about the data set of the dams and the different columns. So just focus on the columns that interest you. There's different who is responsible for the dam. Is it a state? Is it a federal government? There's I think what material is the dam built from. There's a height. There's a width of the dam. So you have a lot of information you can choose to play around with. And remember to focus on what kind of graph you want to create. Figure out the questions you want to answer, right? What questions you want to ask and what questions you want to answer, and what graphs are going to help you answer those questions. Once you have a couple of graphs, then you can think about a dashboard. Oh, okay, let me give user the capability to use a drop-down or range slider or a date picker and so on and so on. But yeah, and if you have ideas and you want to share, hey, folks, I'm going to do this, share it on the forum. You don't have to wait until you actually build everything to share on the forum because, hey, this is an interesting part of the data set. I'm thinking of analyzing the correlation between column G and column A. Does that make sense to everyone? And, we can talk about it. All right, so I'll release that in half an hour, and I hope it's a fun data set for you, and I'll see you next week.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a nice
Thank you,
weekend.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.